Alright, it is Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022 at 6:36 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Mitch Miller, this is my video journal, and I am continuing my way down the ranks in the United States military, challenging them to a duel. So today I'm addressing colonels in the United States military or their equivalent in the Navy and other branches. Anyone that has achieved the rank of colonel or higher in the United States military, I challenge you to a duel using non-lethal compressed air paintball dueling pistols. Since the United States military has not provided a prototype, we will revert to the secondary form of dueling, the oldest sport, wrestling match using scholastic rules. If you win the duel, I will wait another 6 months before I address the next rank down and challenge them to a duel, and you will receive a piece of my art valued at over $1 million. That's all I have to offer at this point. If I win the duel, you must find funds in your budget to seed my non-lethal weapons company. In return for that, you will either receive a piece of art or a stock certificate according to how much you give. If you cannot convince the powers that be to allow this in your budget, then you have to pull some of your own personal funds to fund this program. If you ignore this challenge, if you do not accept this challenge, the blood and death of any military action globally is on your hands for not validating and legitimizing this form of modern warfare using pistol duels and wrestling matches. You are also a coward. I have my little mocktail here. Quit drinking again for a couple weeks, or at least a week. So yeah, that's it. I want to talk about China. It's in the news. Trying to think if there's anything that goes along with that dueling thing. Still working at the embroidery shop, although my hours are cut, which is fine by me. I can focus on my other projects. But I do want to talk about China. So, certain powers that be denounce China for their human rights violations. But the same powers that be haven't cared for the past 50 years as United States corporations have preyed on the labor laws of China. They don't care that most of the products made in the past 50 years were made with Chinese, basically slave labor. They're going to criticize the Chinese government for human rights violations when corporations have been taking advantage of these policies for 50, 60 years. Some powers that be might even own the designer purse that was made by this slave labor, and 5 to 10, 1,000% profit was made off of it because it was a designer. I don't think you can criticize a government that harshly when the United States has embraced their policies when it benefits them. Now, I know what you're thinking. But the Uyghurs, right? The Uyghurs. Well, it's not great what's happening there. But here's the deal. Since China embraced communism, they have actively put out propaganda, put out media strategies to get people to not take up a religion. People in the Communist Party are not allowed to practice a religion. So it's not like religious freedom is in the Constitution of China, okay, and they're persecuting certain religions. It's well known in that country that if you take up a religion, you'll probably be prosecuted or persecuted in some way. They put out media to discourage it, unlike the United States and its non-existent media strategies to keep people out of prisons and jails, which I'm going to work on this winter to prove a point. So there's that. I think it's much worse. You may say religion is harmless. Why are they putting these people in institutions? But I don't think religion is harmless at all. I think that religion has spurred many of the wars and travesties throughout history up to the present. And even if you look, I've read the entire Bible. If you look at the Old Testament, most of it is an attempt to document these wars between factions. So it's in your book itself. I don't think it's harmless, but some people say, well, religion is harmless. Well, I'll tell you what else is harmless. Marijuana. Marijuana is fairly harmless. It even has medicinal purposes. I think it's equally as bad compared to the Chinese government putting these people in institutions. I think it's as equally as much of a human rights violation for an elite ruling class of Catholics and Christians to lock up millions, maybe tens of millions of people, give them criminal records, ruin their lives and their livelihoods over something they think is harmless, right? The Uyghurs think taking up a religion is harmless. A bunch of hippies and counterculture people think smoking marijuana is harmless. The difference is, in China, the ruling party cannot practice a religion. In the United States, I think it's worse that a bunch of Catholics and Christians were able to lock up and institutionalize this many people in the same regard, basically. So that's my little diatribe about China. That's pretty much all I have to say at this point, but I could go into further details about it. But they're in the news, so I thought I'd say something about them. Thanks for watching. Join me next Wednesday when I challenge the next rank down to a duel. Still waiting on anyone to take up my challenge, but apparently the United States military is full of cowards. I know they use robots and cruise missiles to accomplish their goals instead of looking their enemy right in the eye and saying, I challenge you, let's go mano a mano in a match right now.